That really actually looked like he was sitting here with us. That is really funny.
It's kind of creepy.
I know. I love it. He's got a standee for the pedestrian. And and then I'm going to put that next to that. so then when people walk by at night, they'll think that there's like security in here.
Nice.
Brilliant. Which there's no security at all. There's like, I leave the doors open. It's so, we brought
it. Yeah.
No, hi.
Hey. All right. Hey there, traders. We are back. I'm telling you.
Oh, you should tell me.
If you remember going to like the junior high school gymnasium and seeing Stan Lee like giving away autographs for free like it was crazy, then this is the show for you.
This is the show for you.
This is it.
We have got Stan Lee's unfrozen that will be here Saturday. Yeah.
And you don't know who might pop in. It might be Sean Van Gorman. You don't know.
You don't know.
You never know.
Sean should totally pop in and say hi.
Yeah, Sean, great friend of the show and an outstanding artist. What?
Oh, there you go.
Hey, Sean, buddy, how's it going? Oh, that's really cool. Creepy Sean hanging around.
It's June.
All right.
This is the funniest thing. This is like Sean Van Gorman's. He put this on here as a standee for his new book. We were joking around when he was here, and I was like, "Yeah, we should just we're just talking about like, yeah, we should make the standee of you." Yeah. It's like, yeah, that's actually a good idea.
That's hilarious.
And he texted me,
and he's like just so chill.
Oh yeah, he texted me like a week ago. And he's like, "Hey, I got a surprise coming for you." And I'm like, "Oh man, I don't even know what that means from you." Oh, this episode brought to you by a half-drink can of juice.
But yeah, Sean has a new book out, Pedestrian.
Yes, it's not out yet, but it's coming out.
Right.
I got the first issue. Like he did a self-published first issue.
Oh, nice.
And I read it after he was here. It was hilarious. It's really funny.
He's really proud of it. Like, if you're not following Sean, head over to he's on Facebook, I know for sure, and Instagram. Head on over
MySpace. MySpace, AOL Chat.
I actually saw something from AOL the other day. It's weird. Yeah. But yeah, follow Sean. He's hilarious. He's a great guy and a brilliant artist.
Really funny dude.
Yeah.
So funny.
Cracks me up. Yeah. So we are at episode number 70.
Lucky 70.
Everything's late, nobody dies.
Yes.
And it is June 20th today.
It is June 20th today.
So I thought that we would jump on the Juneteenth bandwagon, talk about some of our favorite heroes of color.
There you
go. Me personally, Power Man. Love me some Power Man.
Okay, my favorite Power Man, Luke Cage, whatever story. I think... Well, I loved him in Alias. Like that was the best. That was peak Cage.
Yeah, I think so.
But I loved that Azzarello Richard Corbin series.
Okay.
It was a Max series that brought him back into sort of, the Marvel Universe. It was actually, I think it was a little bit before Alias.
A little dirtier, a little grittier.
Yeah.
For sure.
And he was just we got a child. He was bad A. I'll tell you what, his A was bad.
Yeah.
No, wait, that's not a good way to phrase that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. No, he was, he was just like walking around the streets and had his headphones on and was jamming to his music, and people would mess with him and he'd just be like, "Nah, man," and they come up and like, "What are you gonna do about it?" And like punch him and he'd be like, "Yeah, man, stop it." And just like walk away, He's like, "You don't want me to do this."
It was a bit like that Will Smith movie. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but
where he hit Chris Rock. Yeah, it was the Oscars.
No, that was. But
what was
the name of the Will Smith movie
when he was homeless? Unchallenged. I don't know how you're supposed to say it.
Hancock.
That's
right.
Yes.
We have to ask our own personal pop culture expert. Across.
Yeah.
Beck knows everything. New segment. Beck knows everything.
Yeah. Hey, Beck, what issue?
He probably knows.
Yeah, they're just like looking at me like, just don't. No, just don't, man. yeah, so I loved that Cage miniseries. Love Luke Cage and Alias. So much like great stuff they've done with him.
Yeah.
I always had mixed feelings with Rage.
Yeah.
Thought it was a little a bit on the nose and maybe offensive, but I don't know. It's just
It gets hard.
No, man, it gets tough when you like get into that area of like
Right.
I'm not the guy that's like, well, you have to be this to write this, you have to be that to write that, right? But I mean, there does, and especially in the '90s, there was an area of writing and particular characters that maybe some people shouldn't have done. And I feel like that was maybe one of them.
Right. So the creator of Killmonger, and I really feel horrible because his name escapes me right off the top
Don
of my head.
McGregor.
Don. So I was having a conversation.
Welcome to
Don.
our new segment. Greg knows everything.
Eric knows nothing. Swiss cheese brain. But I was talking with Don about this very thing, and he was talking about creating. It was him and Sal Valuto was in the conversation as well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, done a lot of Black Panther type stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And these are some great comic creators, and they were talking about just the weight that they felt back in the 70s creating Black characters for comic books, because they knew they had to represent it properly,
right?
But they wouldn't allow them, like Marvel at that point, wouldn't allow them to get that input from other Black creators. Yeah. So they had to kind of go on the sly and get that information. So I think they did a really good job with a lot. I mean, Killmonger, fantastic character from the jump. So I think they did a great job.
And if you couldn't tell by his name, he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
I think one of the most important, I think, movements of comics was Icon.
Absolutely.
Or not Icon.
That was Icon.
Was it Icon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Static. Milestone.
Oh, yeah.
Icon was one of the characters.
Yeah.
But I think that was like hugely important, because that was one of the first times where you had Black creators creating Black characters in a universe where they weren't background characters. They were the main characters. They were the push of the series. That's what they were about, and I think that was like a really important thing.
Well, and there was a major evolution, because we went from, all our heroes were white, male predominantly, with the exception of Wonder Woman, maybe.
Well, She-Hulk wasn't white.
Even in the
neither was the Hulk. Actually, they had a lot of green characters, a lot of purple,
but they were certainly coded that way.
Oh yeah,
for sure. And then they went to we know that we need to put these characters out there that represent this underserved segment of the population, but we can't have Black creators creating Black characters. Yeah, that might turn out to be too problematic.
Yeah, that's too much.
And then it was that milestone stuff that really put it in perspective for everybody, because now you've got those stories coming from the perspective of actual people that lived them.
And I think a lot of that, I mean, it's with everything else. If you put something out and it makes money, there's your proof of concept. Like, they don't care. You can have, Greg Pak, Pack. I keep saying Pak. I got yelled at one time.
It was Tupac. Greg Pak.
Boom. No, but Greg Pak, and I'd say his name like that because when I freaking met him, he was like, "Hi, I'm Greg Pak," and I'm like, "Hey, I'm also Greg. Here, sign that. Cool." Right. Whatever. Nice guy. But when they had him writing Totally Awesome Hulk,
right?
Which I didn't love that character,
Yes.
And I think it was important because they had a Korean creator doing a Korean character. Korean creator creating a Korean character. Try that. Sally on the seaside or whatever. So you had that, and that was like, I don't think that Marvel would have had so many more Asian characters right after that, and in the spotlight very prominently, unless that book would have made money.
Right.
I mean, and I also think Marvel promoted that the wrong way.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it seemed. I mean, it wasn't. It wasn't a what people call a forced diversity situation, but the way they marketed it made it look like
it feel like it.
It
for
was
sure.
very ingenuine.
Right. Right. And that's what was great about that Milestone stuff, because you didn't feel like it was forced. It was a universe that took place organically in that world, and it made a lot of sense. And it brought us to a point where, we had creators of color creating, characters that look like them and could represent their lived experience. And that being said, we're seeing a lot more Black creators out there and creators doing these great things. One creator that I am big on, and Bueller, Comics of Bueller, did an exclusive with him, Blowtorch. This is the very first Blowtorch. This is the black and white version of Comics with Bueller, and then the full color version. Nice. And we got him kind of hanging out in the green room. He's staring at me right now like, what the hell are we doing? We got the gentleman himself, Mr. Page Alfreds, here to kind of speak to us and give us his point of view. All right. How you doing, Page?
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Uh-oh.
Thank you so much for the support on the comic books. I really appreciate it.
We cannot hear you at all. We don't have any audio.
Uh-oh.
Let's see if it's something on my end.
So anyway, hey, everybody. Just gonna.
Can you hear me now?
That camera, just until you get this fixed. Okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Nothing yet?
And this, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
I am not sure what's going on here.
Oh.
Good. How are you? This is Beck.
All right. It doesn't seem like we got audio. Oh, there we go. I can hear you.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
All right.
All right. Now
welcome.
Welcome, Paige.
Hey, thank you again. Thank you all so much for having me and the support on my comic books. I really appreciate it.
You do some great work. I really love your style. It's very kind of throwback to that. Have you read these?
No, I haven't.
Blowtorch. It's very cool. It's kind of it gives you the feel of that early Image stuff where it's just action. Like you don't your characters are driven by the action. It's just a fantastic. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited about your new project coming up. But the reason, and Paige and I were talking earlier, and we've talked a few times, and he knows I'm just a huge fanboy. So if you do get a chance, real quick, why don't you tell people where they can follow you so we can make sure that their comic shops are picking up your stuff?
Of course, my stuff is my comic book title is All Through a Diamond and Preview, so you can always follow my comic books through order my comic books from Previews, Comicsburg Comics. Facebook, Project Chess, CHESS abbreviated, and or Page Alfred on Facebook, or even
Right.
the website Comic Exposure also has a link to all my comic books as well.
Right on.
Now I'm feeling like I've left myself out of this. This is gorgeous.
Oh yeah, the artwork is fantastic, and I think like it's not very often that we see a lot of comic creators with your ability to drive the story with the action, and that's what I really like about your stuff.
And to talk about that comic book you have in your hand right there, that is Barry the Pastor, the first one, right?
Right.
I think that's Barry the Pastor, the first one in black and white, correct? Or in gray?
Yes.
Yeah, I did that with an artist named Montos.
Right.
Whose art style, if you look in there, you can see his art style was really just so incredible. And from there, he got picked up from my DC. So I'm very proud of him. He's doing Green Lantern, John Stewart right now. And I'm real proud to see the development that he's going through. So, I mean, it's good to work with people, and then they get, that famous criteria, and you had a part in that. You had a step in that. So.
Well, I mean, you should be very proud of that book. That is beautiful. The art, it's really clean. It's the lines are gorgeous. It's, to me, very reminiscent of a lot of Jay Lee stuff.
Yeah.
And I just re-released that book. It's coming out, I believe next week. I mean, Diamond has his own schedule sometimes, but I believe it's coming out next week on the 26th in full color.
Nice.
Right.
Well,
and if you like it in black and white, just wait till you see the full color. I think I sent that PDF to you, but just take a look at it in full color. Amazing.
That's beautiful. It has a place in the store, definitely. That will be here.
Yeah.
So, Paige, I get curious when I talk to comic creators, but tell us about yourself. What is it? What characters was it that you followed when you were coming up? What creators were out there that you looked to say, yeah, that's something I can do? I'm inspired by this dude's work.
I was always inspired by the early Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee's, Chris Claremont writing style. I came up on those even before it switched to Image Comics. I mean, it's still X-Men and X Factor and those comic books. Those years of comic books.
Right.
When X Factor was big, X Force just got started. Fabian, I don't know how to say his last name. These guys, Scott Lobdell, these guys had a incredible run where they were writing the same characters in different books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, one might be a Wolverine book, one might be this book, but it's really the collection in the whole that I wanted to do. That you got different titles, but all connects to each other. And then I started following a writer named Scott Lobdell.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, internet was new, so they started putting out script examples, Lobdell script examples. How to write a comic book. That's what, like, Wizard magazine and stuff like that used to have, like, how to write a comic book. And Scott Lobdell had these things. I was like, I like this. I want to do this. I'm going to try it. And then I tried it. I made a team that was chess at the time. Off some of my friends, my aunt, people that I knew, and then just made them comic book characters. And then I started following the news and about what's going on in the world, and it's like, well, let's handle it this way, or if this person's handle it that way, and that's how I got started.
Right on.
Well,
and then
I can definitely see that era of the X books in there, because that's when Jay Lee was doing a couple issues of X Factor.
Right.
That style is
X Factor was I believe Larry Stroman and Fabian.
Yep.
And but I'm just saying, as a collective, I'm talking about, like, all of them was like, like Executioner's song. Like they would do these trades that everybody's in the books.
Yeah.
Everybody's rotated. So if you even got X-Men book, still got X Factor or X Force. You got X Force book, you still got X-Men, and you know what I mean? I'm talking about, like, how the characters rotate through different titles.
Yeah. That gave it sort of a predictability in a good way, because you knew what it was going to look like, you knew what it was going to read like. It was interconnected. They had great editors at that time, partially because they didn't have 400 X books. You had 4 core books essentially to really keep track of, and those were just
and
action really well. Yeah,
and it's definitely action packed.
Mm-hmm. And I do notice
So,
in reading your books, I read your book, I read The Edge, Marvin Wynn stuff as well. But chess is a great example. So a lot of your stuff is very collaborative. You work with other creators a lot within your own universe that you guys have built. And even within your own characters, the blowtorch pinpoint stuff is fantastic. If you're really into that, you, I like when people ask me about it. I like to refer to it as a grittier, more realistic GI Joe. That's kind of what it feels like to me because it's more down to earth. Like people get hurt in these books. I mean, people are not real nice all the time in these books.
Well, and that's part of the
nah,
advantage
nah.
with an independent book is there are stakes. You know, if a character gets hurt, if a character gets killed, something like that, they're not legacy characters. They're not movie characters. They're not, intellectual properties.
True.
Something's going to happen to those
I
characters.
mean, at the influence of when I started writing chess and stuff like that, the influence is different than it is now. In the movies and comic books, like the movies out back then was like Face Off and Tango and Cash, and these movies that the action was, it wasn't CGI, saturated. You know what I mean? You had movie Rambo. You had movies that really had the actors had to act out. It wasn't CGI influenced. Like now, everything's CGI, it's supposed to whatever, and green screen. But back then, the energy in the movies and the cartoons that was on TV, Thundercats, He-Man, Ghost in the Shell, Robotech, everything that's had this high adventure thing to it. So the influence around you is different when you was creating comic books back then. And then the fun part, how I started chess was with friends. Pinpoint's actually based off a friend of mine. And what I used to do is, when I started trying to write the script for Pinpoint and have Pinpoint do things in the chess comic book, I used to have him act it out in the backyard. You be in the backyard, like, hey, flip, hey, do this. And this is a friend that, these times would get him out of trouble because he's always in trouble. He's a short, how Pinpoint is. He's a short, very aggressive person that likes to fight all day. And I said, like, yo, stop fighting. Let's leave the street and go in my backyard. I'm gonna have you act out this comic book character, and it would just be fun to see this guy who's fighting all day, flipping and jumping around my backyard, having a good time. Like a whole different character, whole different person.
Yeah.
So then, that's
how Pinpoint got started?
Did you model Blowtorch after yourself? Then is that where that dynamic comes in?
No, Blowtorch is I like Colossus. I like someone who's straight and narrow, and I want that seesaw effect of Blowtorch being the perfect soldier, even though he got a mask on. But his backstory was that he was the perfect soldier. He was handsome. He grew up through high school. He was handsome. He's the most handsome football player. Everything off his looks. He came from a big family. He was super handsome. Girls loved him. He got everything off his looks. He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then when his minefield blast happened that messed up his face, he went into hiding behind this mask. But his attributes as a soldier and everything that he knows how to do is still there. So I wanted to build like a dynamic between that with how he is as a person. So that's how Blowtorch got started. I wanted to write a story around him that get people understand that he's still the same soldier. He's still this perfect-minded, perfect orchestrated person, but now he hides behind this mask. He has a thing about his face. His face is like disfigured or burnt. Not disfigured, more burnt than disfigured, but you know what I mean. I wanted to write a tale of why he is what he is. And the relationship between him and like Pinpoint, who's over aggressive, who's always jumping out there crazy, and Blowtorch and his new girlfriend Footpath, which if you follow the chess comic books, or even the Blowtorch comic books, you would see that relationship starting out. And Yeah, I just want to write characters that each one had its own storyline about them.
Right on.
It was so much more diplomatic than what I would have said. I would have said, yeah, he was very handsome, really smart, absolutely perfect, pretty much based on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't get to see that because his face is covered. I mean, now you don't get to see it because his face is covered. But his story was that he was this perfect person off his looks. He just had that perfect look. He was like the golden dream boy, Fabio, or whoever you want to compare him to.
Yeah.
So he got used to that throughout his lifetime, and when that got taken away from him, it's like caused a problem, a dilemma in his mind.
So the one thing I like about creator-owned independent creators, things like this, and just talking to him and Paige, listening to you talk, I love that people are invested in it. There's a passion with it. It's not,
sure.
It's not, I'm going to throw this out and I'm going to get a TV deal. Somebody, if that happens, awesome, great, okay, but I can tell that you're invested in this. I can tell that you care about this book, and I always appreciate that.
Yeah, I've been doing it for years. I did it for fun. I'm doing it more serious now, but now that I started Page One Comics with Comicsburg, and really doing my own line of comic books and really putting in the quality that I always wanted to do with them. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it allows you to have your own imagination.
Yeah.
It allows you to have your own editing, control.
Yeah.
And you just get to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah. It's just
more than anything else.
Yeah, and the books really reflected. I haven't got a chance. You sent me over the PDFs earlier for some stuff. We'll do some reviews on the channel, but I haven't got a chance to read them. I'm going to sit down and kind of devour those tonight. But I don't want to take up too much of your time. Why don't you tell us about the new book coming out?
Daisy Chain.
Daisy Chain.
Daisy Chain is my first time trying a crime thriller. I started that. Now Daisy Chain, I started with my partner on that, Mike Lynch, who is a phenomenal writer. Ireland, I believe, and we started that comic book years and years ago, and we submitted it to everybody. We were so heavy on trying to submit that to somebody. Image, Darby Pop, Ablaze, you name it. We submitted that comic book to them, and everybody rejected it. And we're like, well, why are they rejecting this? And we started Daisy Chain at the more of the turn of social media and internet, where serial killers using that as the way to get her victims. And everybody's kept rejecting them. So after like years and years of rejection, when I had the opportunity, I said, let's do it ourselves. And I'm happy we did do it ourselves, because the response to it has been fantastic.
Right. I saw that you guys are into a second printing, correct?
We're going to a second printing. The first one, the first run was more fantastic than we thought we was going to get. I'm very happy. It's also Mike Lynch's first published comic book in the U.S. in Diamonds, and I'm just really happy how that comic book came out. We tried for so many years to get that out through different publishers, and nobody wanted it. We tried it through a Kickstarter years ago, and it didn't make funding. So it was like, you get frustrated, like, let's give up on this idea. It's like, nah, something, let's just do it ourselves. So we got this artist named Igor Carolyn, who did Blowtorch Bad Roads.
Okay.
And we said, here, take this script that we have and let's see what you could do with it. And when he sent the pages back in his art style, we said, something, we got a hit. We got something here.
Nice.
The combination in this script and his art style, we got something here. And then he did the whole issue, and he was like, oh yeah, let's do this. And then we did a bunch of covers for it. And what can I say? We got lucky on this one. It did fantastic. The response to it has been fantastic. And The letterer, Sade Temefonte, is who the lettered blowtorch that you have there, the one you have there. She did the letters on Daisy Chain, and her lettering patterns. I mean, she just adds so much to the comic book. I think when you read Daisy Chain, I think it's going to be one of the most talked about comic books. I think it came out so fantastic. I'm glad that nobody took it. I'm glad that we had a chance to do it ourselves.
Nice. And it's in solicitation right now. So I know I've asked my LCS to carry it.
You're not the first one. No, serious.
Really?
I've
Nice.
had people coming in and asking about that.
Right on.
So, yeah.
So
it's getting some buzz.
It will be available.
Yeah, it got a lot of feedback. That's why I said that I was very surprised on the response it got. Because you would think something that got rejected so many times. Nobody, Image rejected it. Derby Pop, Ablaze. I mean, that's down the line. Almost any publisher you could think about, we submitted to, and they rejected it. And you're like, well, why do they keep rejecting it? It's a fantastic story. I mean, the storyline was fantastic. And something. Now I'm happy they did, because now the response that it's getting, we get to take in.
Right on.
And we get to enjoy, and we get to say that we still did it, and I want everybody to see the success of it.
Right on.
So,
well, I'm excited. I'm excited to read it, and I know I got mine on order. And you know me, I'll be hitting you up to get my signed copy. I got a whole little stack of page autographs at the house. Marvin just said hi to you in the chat there.
Actually, he said, "Who is this?"
That's right.
I don't.
Yeah, Marvin doesn't have a clue.
Speaking of Marvin,
he owes you money.
Last year we did a campaign. We did a campaign for Chess Edge Phantoms crossover on Zoom.
Yeah.
The pages are done. We're completing the lettering now, and we're scheduling that to be added to the 2025 schedule as well. So look out for that crossover.
Nice.
Chess Edge Phantom crossover. And it would mix his team, the Edge, and Chess together. And it's just the beginning of, like I said, that type of area where you could see everybody's characters and everybody's books.
Yeah, I love the way you guys work together.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so look out for that for Comicsburg. And Comicsburg 2025. We're not playing. We're just getting started.
Nice.
And then, of course, and then we're going to line that with the new chess book that's going to come out, the new chess storyline. And Footpath got her own comic book coming out too, with Jonathan Hendrick and Marcelo Salazar as the artists. That's going to be coming out in 2025. So
you're just busy. You're too busy.
Yeah, big year.
Yeah. I mean, that's enough for 2025 right now, and I'm getting a chance to work with some incredible people. Jonathan Hendrick, from Recount and Capable. I mean, he's on fire right now, and I got a chance to work with him on the Footpath script, and came out fantastic.
Right on. Right on. All right. So again, you can follow Paige on Facebook. Do you have an Instagram? I wasn't able to track one down.
Paige Dollars on Instagram.
All right. And you,
Z.
If you want to follow him on the Book of Faces, we got your link down in the comments below. Make sure you sub up to him, follow him to get more information on anything that he puts out. You're doing great work. I love the stuff you're putting out, and it's awesome to get a chance to catch up with you every once in a while.
I appreciate you and your support.
All right. So
Thanks
we will let you go. You have a great day, and we'll talk to you later, man.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Take care.
All right.
Right on.
So Marvin pops in, immediately starts causing trouble.
Troublemaker Marvin.
Immediately.
There's Marvin's book right there. I brought a copy of that.
I like to see what I think is going to be a success story here. I like to see the passion of that. I like to see people literally, like you just said, everybody rejected it, but you don't give up with it. You keep putting it out. You keep trying, and that's that ethic that independent comics has.
Right.
And it's great to see that still going.
Well, I really like Page's work and Marvin's also, but the way that Page writes and the way that he creates his scripts, it doesn't talk down to the reader, which a lot of, especially the mainstream stuff does.
Well, that's a fine line. You have to explain,
right?
But you can't, spoon feed. And it's that fine line, and that's I think that's what separates a good writer from a great writer.
Yeah.
And and that's with comics, movies, everything. I mean, there has to be that little bit of an air of mystery where you have to figure something out. But yeah, again, it's a very fine line. It's tough to thread that.
And I think that speaks a lot to what you were just saying about the independent creators and them being able to take ownership of what it is that they're doing.
Yeah.
Because his stuff is so well written because he lives it. He knows those characters. He's got he's working on it. It sounds like his fourth story for Blowtorch, and and he's got more to. You can just tell he's got more stories to tell.
You can almost hear the ideas just popping out of his head. And again, he seems passionate about it, which is something that's, I think, sorely missing in a lot of comics these days.
Yeah.
And that's what you say. You have ownership over these characters, literally and figuratively. And it's not like you're just popping into, do a couple of fill-in issues on Ghost Rider. This is your character. This is what you do. So you do have, again, there's stakes for the character. There's stakes for the reader. And it's great. It's great to see that stuff. And I feel like with, I am having a lot of people that are walking away from a lot of the majors, and trying to explore more of the smaller stuff now. Or at least, if not walking away from and trimming that down a little bit, okay, well, I'll get these 3 core X-Men books, but I'm not getting the other 7 of them. But I saw this really cool thing from Mad Cave. Wait, put that on, or something like that. So it's a big difference.
Well, and there's nobody writing an X-Men book now that is writing an original character.
No,
Deadpool's super cool. It was back in the day because those creators were writing their character that they created.
Yeah.
Same with Spider-Man, same with, Don McGregor and his Black Panther stuff. Yeah. He was writing characters that he created that he was invested in.
Well, and again, there was a sense of danger for those characters. You could tell. I mean, they didn't know Spider-Man was going to get canceled 3 years in.
Right.
That's kind of, it's like Walking Dead when Robert Kirkman said, "Oh, I wouldn't have killed Shane if I knew it was going to go this far." Oh, spoiler, he dies in like the 4th issue. But, but it's, he said, "Oh, I would have changed that." And I'm like, I'm glad you didn't know then.
Right.
Because that would have made it boring. You would have had this character go on and on and on. And none of his, core major characters were going to die until the end of that series. And you knew it. You knew, and he would always say, "Oh, no, nobody's safe." And I'm like, no, Rick is safe. Carl is safe. They might get hurt, but Rick is safe. Carl is safe. Like, all these people are safe. They're safe. Come on, man. Right. When he started killing off the major characters, I was like, this is reaching the end. He hasn't said anything, but it's got to be reaching the end by now. And I'm glad that he killed off Shane early because, I think that was a more effective character just being in there for a little bit because it really set the tone for the other characters for the rest of the book.
Yeah.
But again, he didn't think it was going to go past 10 issues because it didn't sell. Yeah. The zombie genre was dead. It's weird to hear that and say that, but nobody wanted zombie anything.
Yeah.
So, it was fresh then. And that's the thing, as I've said time and time again with the legacy characters, they're safe. They're safe. Yeah. None of them are going to die.
Yeah, I mean, they killed off Captain America, and I thought that was
How many times?
Genius move the first time when they killed him off. That was a genius move, but then they swore they were never bringing him back.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's no more.
Yep.
Steve Rogers. But
Yep.
he came back, and
Yep.
then it just kind of lost all its luster after that.
Yeah, I think Captain Bucky was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I think he was great, and I'm always going to call him that. I don't care. But you know, I thought that was fun. You know, it was fun when Nightwing took over as Batman.
Yeah.
You know, that was cool. You know, it was nice to see those characters with a little bit of difference. You know, and like seeing things a little differently and reacting differently to situations. It made them fresh again.
Right.
And then they were just like, oh, yeah, we're going to bring it back. We're fine.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. Anyway.
Marvin, I'm surprised they keep Jane dead for 10 years.
Yeah. Have you seen that Chris Claremont, I guess, documentary?
No.
Yeah. They apparently promised Chris Claremont that they would keep her dead. They said, if you kill her, we will not bring her back. And then somebody else came in and was like, we should bring her back. And he was pissed. He was not happy.
Yeah.
They brought her back, you know, for X Factor, right?
Right.
And if you remember, Louise Simonson was not writing that initially. But she took over because she'd worked on Power Pack and worked with Claremont, and she was his editor. So he actually was able to get her to write X Factor so he could still do what he wanted with her, because they were working very closely together apparently at that point. So, you know, there's a lot of weird stuff with that when they just promise. They're like, no, man. You know, he said, look, if I do this, you need to promise me that she stays dead. And they were like, you bet. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really a catch-22 also, because, like, killing Steve Rogers, Captain America, one of my favorite all-time comic book characters, and they killed Steve Rogers off. I'm like, oh, that sucks. But that's a loss.
But what a great way to do it. Huh?
But then you're kind of happy they brought him back because it's Captain America, and I love Captain America. And so,
but then all of a sudden it nullifies all the risk of that character in the future forever.
And it takes all the stakes out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm really surprised. We're watching Smallville. Kat and I are watching Smallville again. And it dawned on me that Uncle Ben's not the only one that died permanently. Like, Pa Kent died.
Yeah.
And he's never been back.
And what a weird first name, Pa.
Pa.
That's odd.
Pa.
Yeah,
Pa.
Pa Kent. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, that's something to think about with that. And it is absolutely true.
Yeah.
You know, there's only a couple of characters, and it's always like the parents or the parent figures.
Oh yeah.
That die and stay dead. You know, Peter Parker's parents. Peter Parker parent. Jack Murdoch, Uncle Ben, you know, all these guys, you know, Paul Kent. All of them are the ones that have stayed dead. And I think because it's integral to that character, you know, and if they came back, then that character would just cease to be.
Yeah.
You know, Thomas and Martha Wayne.
Where'd you hear that?
Martha! You know, they stay dead. It's like, that's what makes those characters. You know, if they brought Bruce Wayne's parents back in the main DC continuity, I know they brought him back in a million things.
Right,
but
right.
In the main DC continuity, you know,
there'd be no reason for Batman.
Right. Well, first off, they'd be like 100 years old, and that would be weird. But you know, yeah, there would be no reason for Batman, and that character would fundamentally change.
Well, and Jonathan Kent was really different because he was around for 60 years.
Yeah, he was around a long time,
and then they killed him off.
Yep.
But he's never been back, which is really surprising to me.
I'm kind of surprised at that too.
I mean, Jor-El's been dead for, you know, all of Superman's life, and they keep bringing him back.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That dawned on me the other day, and I found that really interesting.
So, mostly nobody dies and everything.
Everything's still late. So
yeah, okay, there you go. Exactly. Yes.
that
Right.
some things won't change.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all I gotta say. I'm done.
Yeah. I don't know. That's all we got, man.
What do you
Thank
say,
you.
Sean? Ooh, creepy Sean's back. I hope he watches this. I really
God,
do.
I hope so too.
Like,
I'm
that
gonna,
is so
I'm gonna
funny.
send him a link.
Special guest stars Paige Alfred and Sean Van Gorman.
The 2D Sean. 2D Sean. That's what we call
It looks like he's really here. I mean, that's such a
know
good.
It does, man. That is insane.
Yeah,
That's so great.
yeah.
Man.
I just want to remind everybody, especially our Utah viewers, we know we get quite a few that watch us on the Rewind. This weekend, 20th anniversary. Congratulations on 20 years, Greg.
Thank you.
20 years in this location, Black Cat Comics. Going to have tons of people here signing books,
Yes.
talking to the fans.
Yep.
Not just, me, the scribbles on my notepad. We're going to have actual artists, actual creators.
Yeah, it's
Like-
gonna be great. It's really just it's a mini Comic-Con is what it
Yeah,
is.
you're got the place is packed. Plenty of books here for them to sign. He's got them laid down on a table over here. One thing he did mention earlier, if you're able to stop in, they are selling quick. So come in and grab a book, bring it back Saturday if that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And some stuff.
And this one too. Yes, we got to talk about Matt's book. Yesterday's Tomorrow, which is so funny. We did not talk about that before, did we?
We did not.
This he was sitting on until Steamboat Willie went into public domain, and then he immediately brought him in. This is a great book. It is issue 1. He's going to do a couple issues, but it is about Steamboat Willie going back in time to kill baby Hitler, and he has a tough time doing it. Because it's like, oh, he's kind of cute, but baby Hitler has just a little
mustache.
Yeah, it's great. But it's so much fun. We sold out of the first bunch that we got. This is the second bunch, and they're moving fast. It's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And the creator's going to be here to chat with and to sign them. So
we'll sign them, maybe do a little
stuff.
remark on them, something like that, and then you can get you can get these things signed, sent into CGC, and they'll authenticate them now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So we don't need to have a witness.
Yeah. So if you get your book slabbed, I mean, it's not my thing, but if that's how you collect, you can get them signed and then send them on in. There's going to be a couple names here that you're going to want those signatures.
Yes, you are.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you pop in Saturdays and be doing it all day.
Yep.
Hey, Damien, want to say hi to Damien?
Hey there.
And
also, there's going to be a sale on Saturday, one day only.
20% off the entire store.
Yeah, man.
If
buy
you
the entire store,
if you want to buy the
entire store, I'll give you 30% off. But we got some bunch of signed books I brought back from Chicago, some cool variants,
Nice.
things like that. It's going to be great. We got a lot of really good stuff. So.
Yeah, so pop on in, say hi, get some books signed, talk to some creators. It'll be a good time. Good time for everybody.
Yep.
Good time, Greg.
Yeah, good time, Greg.
Yeah.
That's what we call it.
So we're going to wrap this one up. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you take a moment to ding the little bell, it'll let you know whenever we drop a new
That's
show.
the noise it'll make.
That's exactly
That's not what
That's
it does.
not?
That's not what it does.
Because that would be cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it just goes. I think that's
pretty much.
Really, yeah.
And that's actually the sound of your mouse. So
Yeah,
it
that's
doesn't
true.
really count.
Yeah, it doesn't really do
All right. We'll see you later, traders.
Thanks. Bye.